Hi everyone, I'm Shenren Hu. Welcome to 52 Weeks of Startup. In this episode, we'll be sharing how to build a $30 million asset social impact fund. Okay, so I'm also the founder of the social impact fund called Joint Commonwealth Fund, or JCF. And in fact, this has been our goal for 2021 to scale our asset size from the current size to 30 million US dollars. So how can this be done? We have been thinking about some options, and actually, let me provide some context first. Originally, our goal for this year has been 3 million US dollar in assets, but because I've joined Benjamin Hardy's AMP program, and in his coaching session, he basically showed me this book called 10x Rule by Grant Cardone. And in the book, he talks about we always tend to underestimate our capability. So we usually set a goal that is kind of quote unquote safe to achieve, even though we might have higher aspirations, but it's usually a goal that we think that can be achieved quote unquote reasonably. But we actually can perform, and achieve a lot more than what we have set up to. So he suggests that as a general rule, what happens is you should 10x your goal, for any goal that you intend to pursue and achieve. So that's exactly what I did, or what we did, to up our game from $3 million of assets under management to $30 million. And frankly, I have no idea how to do this. So this is actually something that, I have to sort of figure out. But I like to share the process of which, we're doing this. I learned also a while back ago from James Altucher that he writes down 10 ideas in order to train your idea brain, idea muscle to become an idea machine. So I started to, in the last few weeks, first thing after I wake up in the morning, I started to write down 10 ideas about how I can achieve our $30 million, dollar assets goal. And then just started to execute some of them. And what happens is, out of these ideas, something that came out. One is I actually got a scheduled meeting with one of the top VCs in Taiwan, which will happen in September. But another thing is, I just sort of started to realize more and more ways and approaches that could make this possible. So one insight that actually just happened a couple of days ago was that I've been thinking about if we were really to get up our asset size, one approach is to have bigger investors, right? Right now, JCF is a fund that has about 120 participants with an asset size of about for 140,000 US dollar. And the average contribution per person is about $1,000. So obviously, in order to achieve scale the asset size to 30 million, that probably requires us to 10x, the average investment size, or, and find more clients essentially. And the extreme of this is maybe just find a few $1 million institutional clients who can contribute, let's say, a few $1 million each into the fund. However, I started to realize there's another approach to do this, which is also possible, which is to have a fund that has a lot of users, let's say 1 million of them, each only contribute 30 US dollar on average. So that's also a $30 million fund, except that now it's, consists of a lot more people. And this is actually logically, possible. And so the question for me then became, which one of these two should we pursue? Because obviously these are different goals and probably different strategies are needed to achieve them. So I started to ask, what would align better with our original intent, purpose, our mission and vision. And our vision, our mission has been to create wealth for all. And the vision is to get over 1 billion people under the protection of basic income, universal basic income, from the private sector by 2040. So that's like a 20-year plan. So if we can actually get more people involved, that actually aligns better with our purpose of providing universal basic income, or make basic income truly universal. So after realizing that, I just started to think, okay, so maybe one approach is not to get, right now the average contribution is 1,000. Maybe it's actually to 10x downsize that, okay, to less than $100, even to $30, okay, and then but get a lot more people to onboard. Okay, that's say 1,000,000 people. So obviously the question then becomes, how can we bring 1,000,000 people on board to our platform or to our fund? Well, this also isn't something entirely new. In the past, there's this company called PayPal that was started by Peter Thiel, and actually Elon Musk was one of the co-founders of PayPal as well. What happened was they were basically giving people, one, very easy access to money and to send money simply through an email address. And second, in the early days of PayPal, they were literally giving people free money for each sign up. If you sign up a friend, both you and your friend get $10 into your account. So they were like throwing out this free money, and the signups were like crazy. Okay, obviously they were VC backed, and it's not something we can do at this stage until we get a VC backer. However, what happens is in the Joint Commonwealth Fund, we have this design of what's called a dividend pool, which literally means that all the profits of the fund goes to store into a kind of a dam, a dividend pool. And then we pay back regular, on a monthly basis, dividends to our participants, paying just a quarter of that. But what happens is that is actually a form of free money. And half of the dividend actually is equally shared among all the participants. So this acts as a small form of basic income. For example, in the first quarter of this year, 2021, we actually paid out in equivalents US $150 worth of dividend to everyone, regardless of their holding size. So even if you just have like a $10 position in our fund, you still get $150 in dividend. So that's a 15x return on your investment, which is quite nice. So if you join JCF with just a small amount of investment, let's say $30, you will get tremendous ROI simply because the existence of our dividend pool. Okay, so essentially we can sort of hand out free money as well. And we can also follow PayPal's example of inviting people with email links. Okay, there's another design in JCF is that for the monthly dividends you receive, everyone has to donate 7% of their monthly dividend to someone or some other organization, someone else. So this also becomes free money that you can gift to a friend or a relative or someone you care about. So that is actually our viral marketing plan. And if we can follow PayPal's example of handling free money and also using email as a form of invitation for sign up, then perhaps we can create some similar viral scaling effect as all these other companies with the quote unquote network effect built into it. So this is our game plan for the upcoming months. And after realizing this, it just started to occur to me that this actually is something that's possible to do. So I feel very excited about this. And I'd like to share one more thing, is that your why is always very, very important. I think the reason why I'm, willing to scale up our goal from 3 million to 30 million, and also to explore the possibility of getting over 1 million people into our fund. Okay, instead of just, I think one of the more well-known crypto index fund, which we actually model after, is called Crypto 20. It holds the top 20 crypto assets. Right now, the participant size, I think it's about 50,000 people. Okay, that's in the fund. And the fund is worth about, I think, 30 to $50 million. Okay, so it's also quite sizable. But, I guess that the point is the number of participants still is in the tens of thousands of range. So thinking to get to over 1 million people, participants, that is actually a different kind of 10x thinking. Okay, so this again comes back to our why. And because we're on a social mission to help make basic income truly universal. And all these are just the techniques, tools, steps that we take towards that goal. So I think it's important too to have a strong enough why, so you can always innovate, always grow yourself, and always be able to set high goals and face any kind of obstacle and solve any challenging problems. All right, so I'm Shen Yuan Tu, and thanks for listening and or watching. I really appreciate that. If you are interested to learn more about JCF, please visit our official website, jcf.world. You can watch a 3-minute video about that, or to sign up for our English-based webinar to learn more. And if you are if you're interested to join us, either to work with us to see how we can make basic income truly universal, please drop me a line too. Okay, I'd be happy to hear from you. Okay, so 52 Weeks of Startup is basically recording my journey towards become a quote-unquote social billionaire in the future. That I like to see my future self as someone who serves billions of people through social enterprises. And if you like our content, please share with your friends, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.